Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So let us start. We have completed up to dense connective tissue. We were doing dense connective tissue. We have completed loose connective tissue, which is a portion of fibrous connective tissue. Now we have to do dense connective tissue. Am I right? We are going right, right?
Ma'am, page number.
Page number 15, 1-5. Page number 15. We were doing dense connective tissue. So we have to discuss tendon and ligament. That is dense connective tissue. It has more fibers than the loose connective tissue. It has two types, tendons and ligaments. So can we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, teacher.
Okay, fine. So tendons and ligaments, these are the types of dense connective tissue. Now let us know what is a tendon. What is a tendon? It is a flexible and inelastic structure made of fibroblasts and collagen fibers. Please underline that. Made up of fibroblasts and collagen fibers. Its function is to connect a muscle to bone. It helps in the movement of bones on contraction and relaxation of
Ma'am, page number.
page number 15, 15. We are on page number 15. We are discussing tendon. So what is a tendon? It is a flexible and inelastic structure. That means it is flexible but inelastic. That means it will not have elasticity in it. Flexible means, that means suppose this is a tendon. It can bend. That means it can bend here and there. It can bend here also. It can bend here also. It has flexibility, but it is not elastic. That means it cannot be stretched. Okay. It cannot be stretched. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So talking about tendon, it is inelastic and flexible. It is made up of fibroblasts and collagen fibers. Underline that. Now, what is its function? It connects a muscle to a bone. A tendon connects a muscle to a bone and it helps in the movement of bones to contract and relax. That means our muscles in the body, they continuously contract and relax. And because of the contraction and relaxation, we are able to move our body parts. That means when we move our hand, when we move our legs, when we walk, when we do some work with our hands, our body, or we can say our arms, our legs, the muscles are contracting and relaxing. Okay, they are contracting and relaxing continuously. That's why we are able to move them.
Ma'am, on which page number?
Page number 15, 15. We are on the topic tendon. Tendon. So we have told that tendon is a flexible but inelastic structure made up of fibroblasts and collagen fibers. Its main function is to connect a muscle to a bone. Connect a muscle to a bone. That means it helps in the contraction and relaxation of muscles, right? When it will contract and relax muscles, it will eventually connect it with the bone. So that's all about tendon. Now, second is ligament. Now, you all must have heard ligaments in our body. Sometimes doctors say ligament has been loosened, आपका ligament loose हो गया है. So ligament is an elastic structure. That means when a ligament is loosened, that means its elasticity is gone at that time. Sometimes when you suffer with any injury, so डॉक्टर से कि आपका लिगामेंट लूज हो गया है, दैट मींस उस टाइम आपका लिगामेंट का इलास्टिसिटी लूज हो जाता है. So ligament is an elastic structure. That means it can be stretched. Okay, our body parts contain ligament inside, so they can be stretched. It is made up of fibroblasts and collagen fibers. Same thing. जिससे टेंडन बना है उसी से ही लिगामेंट भी बना है. Fibroblasts and collagen fibers. So its main function is to connect a bone to another bone. What was the main function of tendon? It connects muscle to bone, whereas ligament is connecting bone to another bone. That means it will connect a bone, a single bone to another bone, right? Now, and also it helps in bending it. Yes. Also, it helps in bending and rotation movement at a joint. We have joints in our hands and legs. You know, in our hands, where is the joint? At the elbow. In our legs, where is the joint? At the which place? Do you know in our legs, we have a joint. Where
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that joint present?
Head.
Knee.
In
Okay.
knee.
Knee is the joint of our leg. Or not only knee, but also below the knee, we have toe. So in the foot also, joint is present. So basically knee, and in hands, we can say elbow. These are joints, right? So this ligament, it helps in bending and rotation of the joints. We can move our hands, right? We can rotate our hands when we do exercise, when we do PT. So we can, obviously, we can move our hands, we can rotate leg also. So this rotation movement comes with the help of what? A ligament. A ligament helps to rotate and to bend our body or our joints, right? Joints in hands and legs. So that's the main function of ligament. It connects a bone to another bone and it helps in bending and rotating the joints. Is it clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then come to the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
topic. The second one is supportive connective tissue. First one was fibrous connective tissue. We had loose connective and dense connective in that. Now the second one is supportive connective tissue. Now it is also having two types, bone and cartilages. Supportive connective tissue is of two types, bone and cartilages. Underline that. Now when we talk about bone, it is the main supportive tissue in animals, right? We all have bone. Animals mean including humans also. We all contain bone in our hands, legs, everywhere. So bone is there. Sometimes doctors say bone fracture ho gaya hai. That means the bone has been fractured. So bone is the main supportive tissue. It gives support to the body parts like hands and legs. So basically, bone is the main supportive tissue in animals with a backbone. Animals also have a backbone, right? You all have a backbone. So it is very strong, porous and non-flexible structure. This backbone, it is a very strong porous. Porous means it has pores in it. Small pores are present and a non-flexible structure. You must have seen your backbone. It is non-flexible. Like you can bend it, but it is not that much flexible, right? It is non-flexible in nature. It is made up of bone cells or osteoblasts. You have to pronounce this thing as osteoblast. The last paragraph you can see made up of bone cells and osteoblasts. So it is not osteoblast. You don't have to pronounce like this. It is osteoblast. The bone cells occupy very small spaces. They are embedded in a hard matrix. The matrix is present in the form of concentric layers around the central canal. The matrix contains salts of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. They make the bone hard and rigid. Bones have a supply of blood through blood vessels. Now, talking about bone, it is made of bone cells and osteoblasts. These are the things which contribute in the formation of a bone. Bone cell and osteoblasts, they are embedded in a matrix. Now, what is a matrix? A matrix is nothing but a liquid-like structure, semi-liquid-like structure, which provides protection to that particular bone or area, right? So this matrix, it contains different type of salts like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. And what does these salts help in? They help the bone to be hard and rigid. You all know that the bone, the backbone, the different bones present in our body, they are very hard and rigid. They cannot be broken easily. So what brings that hardness, that rigidness? It comes from these salts which are present in this matrix, right? Which salt? The calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. You all know that basically calcium is responsible for the rigidity in our body. Like we used to intake milk for calcium, right? We take calcium tablets to get calcium. So this calcium basically it it just hardens that particular portion. In teeth also we have calcium. That calcium hardens the teeth, right? It brings rigidity, hardness. So bones also, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, these make the bone hard and rigid. Now, bones also have supply of blood, right? We in our body, we need blood everywhere, not only a single portion, but the whole body needs the flow of blood. So in bones, the flow of blood is through the blood vessels. We have blood vessels inside our body, small narrow passages. Through that, these bone get blood, right? Is that much clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, blood vessels, you have to underline this much. Bones have a supply of blood through blood vessels. Underline that thing. Also underline the matrix contains salts of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, which make the bone hard and rigid. Underline that. So, now where is the location? Bones are a part of the skeletal system. Our body have so many systems inside it. So many organs are there. So bone is basically the part of the skeletal system, right? It contains of skeletons. When our body, when it is decayed, what is found at the last? A skeleton, which consists of so many bones inside it, right? So bones are a part of the skeletal system. Now, what is the function? Bones give a framework and definite shape to the body. They help in the movement of the body. They protect the internal organs like brain, heart, and lungs. You know, bone, how does a skeleton look like? Like this is the hand. I can't draw this properly here. So hands are there, legs are there. So just a minute. Yeah, you can see thin legs will be present. Okay, like this, like this. Then hands, thin hands. So these are the skeletal system. These are the bones which is present in the skeletal system. You have a skull, okay? You have a rib cage in between. So this is made up of skeletal. This contributes the skeletal system. So all these are bones. This contribute the skeletal system. Its main function is to give shape to the body. Because of these bones present in the body, our body has a definite shape. If bones are not present and only skin is present, what will happen? Our body will be very loosened. It will not get a particular shape. Because of these bones present inside the body, we get a definite shape. This is the first function. What is the second function? They help in body movements. Okay, like hands and legs and the skull, everything can be moved. So they help in the body movements. They are attached with each other. The bone muscles, the bones are attached to muscles with the help of tendons. The bones are attached to bones with the help of ligaments. So all these, they can help the body to move. They help in body movements. And the third function is they protect the internal organs like this skull, protect the brain, right? The rib cage, it will protect the heart and the lungs, right? So all these, the rib cage, the skull, it will protect the internal organs like brain and the heart and the lungs, right? The heart is covered with the help of a rib cage, and the lung also, it is covered with this rib cage. Also, the brain is covered with the help of a skull. Okay, this is the skull, which is made up of calcium. So it will protect the brain from damages, right? When we meet with accidents also, our brain is protected through the skull. Sometimes we suffer that accident because the skull is present and only the skull gets damaged, not the brain. If the brain gets damaged, what will happen? The person will die. So all these, the skull, the rib cage, everything, they provide protection to the different internal organs of our body. Is that much clear? Everyone, can I get a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay, you
ma'am.
said that my voice is not coming. Is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this was about bone. Bone is found in the skeletal system. It gives framework to the body. It helps in the movement of body and it protects the internal organs like brain, heart, and lungs. Just a minute. Give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yes. So coming back to the topic, we have discussed the location of bones consists of skeletal system. Functions are there. Underline these functions. These are very important. Underline these functions, all the three functions: framework, movement of body, and protection to the internal organs. So this is all about bone. Now talking about a cartilage, second thing, supportive connective tissue, which is the second one, a cartilage. Now, what is a cartilage? Cartilage is also made up of matrix. I told you matrix is nothing but a semi-solid liquid type substance which is present inside our body for protection purpose. So cartilage, similar to bone, cartilage is also made up of matrix and it has more spaces. Now this matrix contain chondrocytes. Okay, one or more cells known as chondrocytes. Underline that. You have to by heart these names. In exam, you have to write the correct spelling. So please go through the spellings once. Chondrocytes. These are one or more cells which is present inside the matrix. Now, cartilage does not have a blood supply. It is non-porous and flexible in nature. That means our body gets through the blood supply through bones and different blood vessels. Bones get the blood through blood vessels and cartilages. Here, the difference is cartilages do not have a blood supply. They don't need blood supply. So it is non-porous and flexible in nature. Cartilages are flexible and non-porous. They don't have any pores. They don't have any blood supply. Now, where are they found? It is found in the ear pinna, nose tip, lower end of ribs, around the trachea and larynx, between the vertebrae and the knee joint. Now, do you understand what is a cartilage?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'll show you what is a cartilage. It will look something like this. A bone is a hard structure, right? It is non-flexible and it has pores in it. It is the hard structure. Like suppose this is a bone, it is a very hard and rigid structure. But cartilage, it is a very flexible structure, okay? Very flexible. It is found in the nose, ear pinna. You can see our nose can be, it is very flexible. When we touch our nose, it is very flexible. Also, when we touch our ear, it is flexible. You can fold your ear, right? It is very flexible. Also, inside the trachea means the windpipe. Inside the body, we have a windpipe known as trachea, larynx. At that area also, this cartilages are present. Why? Because windpipe is also flexible, because it should be flexible because all the wind pass through that windpipe. Okay, that's why it is flexible. Between the vertebrae and the knee joint, also they are present. So, do you understand what I'm talking about? Like this is the ear. Okay, this is the ear. So inside
Yes,
ear,
ma'am, understand.
yes, you can see this structure. So this ear can be
Wind
folded.
wire.
Yes. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
So this,
ma'am.
yeah. This ear can be
Yes,
folded. You can try at your own body also. You can try folding your ear. You can try rotating your nose. Not rotating, but just lifting your nose here and there. So the nose, the ear, the vertebrae, these portions contain what? Can anybody tell me? Cartilages.
Cartilage.
Cartilages.
We are talking about cartilages. So these portions, the portions which are flexible, like the nose tip, the ear pinna, everything, they are flexible in nature. That means they contain cartilages in them. So that's why cartilages, when we talk about cartilages, we can say they are flexible in nature. They are non-porous and they do not have a blood supply. Yes, what happened?
Ma'am, what is cartilager?
Cartilages, I told you, cartilages is the flexible portion in our body. Like it is present in the nose tip and in the ear pinna. Like it is flexible. Our ear, it is flexible. So if if in presence of cartilages, if it is not present and a bone is present, you cannot move the ear, right? So because of the presence of cartilage, which is a flexible thing, our nose and ear can be rotated or it can be moved. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can say that cartilage is a flexible in nature. It does not require blood supply, right? Our nose, our ear, it will not require blood supply. Obviously, we don't need blood here, right? Blood is only required in the internal organs. So cartilage do not have a blood supply. So now what is the function of cartilage? It protects the bones of the joints and vertebrae from wear and tear. It gives flexibility, shape and support to some of the body parts like nose and ears. Like I've told you, nose and ear, it can be moved. So cartilage provides the flexibility to the nose and ears. Also, it protects the bones from wear and tear. What is wear and tear? You know, sometimes we get cuts in our body from knife and from different things. We get cuts in our body. So that cut is known as wear and tear. Now, when we get a cut, only the skin get cuts, right? Because of the presence of the cartilages, our nose and ear, when we get a cut, it will not affect the whole ear. Only the skin will be cut. Because cartilages are present, it will protect the internal ear. It will protect the internal nose. It will protect the organs. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So when we say cartilages, when cartilages are present, when a cut is made, when you suppose you got a cut in your ear, so this cut will only be visible or it will remain there in the skin, in the outermost skin. It will not affect the internal ear, right? So this is the importance of cartilages in our body. It will provide protection to different parts where they are present. Is that clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have talked about bone and cartilages.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now you have known the difference. Now the third one, when we talk about the third connective tissue, what is written in your book? It is fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue. We have discussed fibrous connective tissue, which contains tendon, ligament, adipose tissue, areolar tissue, etc., which are present in bone and muscles. Then supportive connective tissue, also bone and cartilage. Cartilages are present in flexible areas. Bone is present in arms and legs for the body movements, right? Now we are going to talk about fluid connective tissue. Now let us read this. Fluid connective tissue has a matrix in a fluid state. The matrix does not contain fibers. The main function of fluid connective tissue is to transport substances in the body. It is of two types, blood and lymph. Now you all know fluid connective tissue. What is a fluid connective tissue? It has a matrix in a fluid state. Now the bone and the cartilage, the tendon, ligament, everything, they had a matrix which was not that much fluid. It was semi-solid, right? But here, this fluid connective tissue contains a matrix which is totally in a fluid form, right? Now, what are the fluids present in this fluid connective tissue? What are the two fluids? Blood and lymph. Now, what is the function of a blood? When we talk about the function of a blood, blood basically carries oxygen and it carries different substances in the body, right? So it is of two types, blood and lymph. Now, when we talk about blood, you all know blood is a red colored fluid made up of liquid matrix called plasma and blood cells. So blood contains plasma and blood cells. The constitution, the basic constitution or the composition of blood is plasma and blood cells. Underline that. Now, plasma contains 90% water and dissolved salts. That means 90% of the plasma is water and 10% is dissolved salts. Blood cells are of three types: RBC, red blood cell, WBC, the white blood cell, and the platelets. Now, you know, our blood contains three types. That means this blood cell, single blood cell, is of three types. It contains red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Now, the red blood cells are obviously from the name itself, it is sure, it is known that these are red in color. So, these red blood cells gives the red color to the blood. Okay. Now, talking about white blood cells, they are white in color, they are less in number. Also, white blood cells, their function is to give protection to the body. That means they help us to fight the diseases. Basically, white blood cells, they are present so that we can fight against diseases. It provides us immunity. And the red blood cells, it gives red color to the blood, right? It carries oxygen. Also, talking about platelets, these are small plate-like structures in the blood. It is also very important for the platelets to be in a fixed number. If the platelets are dropped or their count is less, the person can die, right? Now, where is the location? It flows in blood vessels. Where is the blood found? It is flowing through the blood vessels. You have studied about bone. Bone also have blood vessels through which they get the blood. The bones get the blood through blood vessels. So their location is blood vessels. Now, what is the function of blood? It transports nutrients and waste materials. RBC carry oxygen to the tissues. WBC provide protection from disease-causing microorganisms. Platelets help in blood clotting. Do you get my point? I already told you RBCs are present. RBCs are concave structures, red in color, which carry oxygen to the tissues, right? For the food to get digested. What does WBC do? They give protection. That means they provide us immunity. They provide immunity and they help us so that we don't get affected from diseases. And the last one, the platelets, they help in blood clotting. You know, blood inside the body, the blood also clots sometimes. You know that thing? Okay, in some points when we are injured, when we hit our hand or our leg somewhere, the blood in that portion clots. Why that clots? Like how they clot? When the portion of a hand or a leg is hit it, the blood flow stops there, right? For some point of time, the flow of blood stops there. So due to that stop of the flow of blood, the blood clots. Clot means it will collect at that area, right? Like this flowing blood, this is a flowing blood. It is hit it somewhere, so the blood will clot there. So it will look like a blackish, reddish patch on your hand or leg wherever you are get hit it. So it will look like a blackish reddish patch on your hand. So the blood clotting is done through with the help of platelets. This is about blood. Do you have any doubt regarding blood?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No.
No,
Now,
ma'am.
please underline these things. Yes.
No,
Underline
ma'am.
words, the
Yes.
points I am saying. Blood
No,
cells
ma'am.
are three types. Yes. Underline this thing. Blood cells are of three types. RBC, WBC, and platelets.
Ma'am, class is over.
No, the class is not over. We have 10 minutes more.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So underline this thing. Blood cells are of three types, RBC, WBC, and platelets. Now location is blood vessels. Function, underline all these functions. This is very important. It transport nutrients and waste materials. RBC carry oxygen, WBC provide protection. Platelets help in blood clotting. All these functions are very important. Underline these. Now, the second one, that means the second fluid connective tissue. First one is blood. Second one is lymph. Now, what is a lymph? It is a pale yellow colored fluid. It consists of plasma and white blood cells. It lacks RBCs and platelets. Location, it flows in the lymph vessels. Function, it protects from infections. Now, lymph is nothing. Now, sometimes when blood is flowing from the blood vessels, some blood just squeezes out. That means, suppose this is a blood vessel. Okay, suppose this is a blood vessel. Now, blood is flowing inside it. So, sometimes from the sides of the blood vessel, this blood squeezes out, or we can say ooze out. Okay, sometimes it squeezes out. Like you have seen a pipe, right? We have pipe in our homes. So when we put the water on, when the pressure comes, some at some areas pipes has small holes. So from there the water will squeeze out. Okay. Similarly, these blood vessels also, when blood is flowing inside the blood vessels, sometimes they squeeze out, and this squeezed out blood, the blood which is squeezed out, is known as lymph. Do you get my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, the squeezed out blood is known as lymph. It is a pale yellow colored liquid substance. It consists of plasma and white blood cells. So, because of the presence of white blood cells, it looks like pale yellow colored. Now, what is the important thing? It lacks RBCs and platelets. That means lymph is not blood. It is the squeezed out portion of the blood. So, we cannot say that it is blood. So that's why it does not contain RBC and platelets. That's why lymph is not clotted also. It is not in red also, in red colored also. It is pale yellow colored. Now it flows through the lymph vessels. Blood flows through the blood vessels. Lymph flows through the lymph vessels. Now what is the function of lymph? It protects from infections. Blood, we had so many functions: transport of nutrients, carry oxygen, provide protection, blood clotting, etc. Lymph has one function, which is protection from infection. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now let us talk about the next tissue, muscular tissue. Muscular tissue.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So talking about muscular tissue, muscular means it is made
Ma'am,
up of
exercise.
this exercise for revision. We will do it later. Okay, after this chapter, we will do it.
Okay,
Clear?
ma'am.
Yes. Now talking about muscular tissue, it is made up of muscle cells. Okay, muscular means it will contain muscles. It is made up of muscle cells. Now these muscle cells, they are spindle shaped. Spindle shaped means, I'll draw and show you. Spindle means something like, just a minute. Spindle looks like this. Okay, like you have seen a
Class
maze.
over, ma'am.
No, the class is not over. We have 6 to 7 minutes. Let us complete this topic, which we have started. Otherwise, we don't have much time. Now, this chapter will come in your FA1. If we will not complete it, you will not be able to write it in exam. So let us complete this.
Ma'am, which day FA1 is there?
Date is not fixed yet, but it will be conducted after 15th of August. That means Independence Day. After Independence Day, your FA1 will be conducted. So we have to complete at least 2 chapters before that, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So let us complete this chapter as soon as possible. We will discuss the questions later. I'll be giving you the answers in Moodle. Let us discuss this topic, muscular tissue, where it consists of muscles made up of muscle cells.
Ma'am, you send question answer in Moodle.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, I will send. I will send. Don't worry, I'll send question answers in Moodle.
Okay,
Okay, after
Okay,
this
ma'am.
chapter,
ma'am,
after
you
this chapter ends, when we will end this chapter, then I'll send. Okay. Now, these cells are spindle shaped. Spindle means like this. Okay, you have seen maize, butta, right? So this butta shape, you can see spindle shape. So muscular tissues are spindle shaped. These cells contract and relax. Now, you know muscles help in movement of body. So that's why they need continuous contraction and relaxation. So because of the contraction and relaxation, they are able to move. So these cells contract and relax. Thus, they help in the movement of the body parts and locomotion. Locomotion is nothing but movement, right? Movement for forward movement and backward movement, sideways, etc. all comes under locomotion. Is that clear to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
muscle tissue is of 3 types: voluntary muscles, involuntary muscles, and cardiac muscles.
yes,
So
ma'am.
when we talk about voluntary muscles, let us make a flow chart. Okay, it will be very easy by understanding a flow chart. I'll be just writing the initial things. So voluntary muscle, involuntary muscle, IV, and cardiac muscle, CN. Okay, voluntary muscle, involuntary muscle, IVM, and cardiac muscle, CN. Now, talking about voluntary muscles, these muscles work according to our will. Okay, our will is needed. That means when we think of moving these muscles, only that time these muscles move. Our will. Okay, when we will, only that time voluntary muscles move. Now, they are also known as skeletal muscles. It is because they are attached to the bones and help the body move. Why they are known as skeletal muscle? Because they are attached to the bone and help in body movements. They are also known as striated muscles because they have alternative dark and light bands. You can see in the diagram, voluntary muscle, they have bands in them. You can see orange muscle is there. You can see dark orange bands over them. Can you see in the diagram?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that's why they are known as striated. They are striated with bands. That's why they are known as striated muscles. Also, they are known as skeletal muscles. Why? Because they are attached to bone and help in body movements. Also, what is the main thing? What is the important thing about voluntary muscles? They work according to our will. Okay, that means if we will to move our hand, then only they will move. That means voluntary muscles are present in hand, legs, and neck, we can say. Why? Because hands are moved through our will. We have to will whether our hand should be moved or not. Legs also same case. Neck also, when we try to look here and there, we move our neck. So voluntary muscles are present in hands, legs, neck, etc. You can write this as example. In your book, example is not given. So write this. They are present in example. You can write hands, legs, and neck, etc. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am.
This is about voluntary muscles.
Yes.
What is the main thing about voluntary muscle? They work according to our will. Example, hand, leg, and neck. So, talking about involuntary muscle, it is the opposite of voluntary muscle. That means involuntary muscle, they do not work according to our will. These are not according to our will. Okay, involuntary are not according to our will. These muscles are also called unstriated or smooth. That means you can see in the diagram. Okay, muscular tissue diagram is given there. So involuntary muscles, they are very smooth. Like the muscles, they do not have bands over them. They are smooth and unstriated. So they are also known as unstriated or smooth muscles because they do not have alternative light and dark bands. You have seen voluntary muscles.
What is the full form of IVM?
Yes,
Ma'am, what is IVM?
IVM is involuntary muscles. Okay, I have written short form. So IVM is involuntary muscles, VM is voluntary muscles, and CM is cardiac muscle. Voluntary muscles is under the control of our will. Okay, it has bands over them, light and dark bands you can see over voluntary muscles. So they are known as striated muscles. Involuntary muscles, they don't have bands over them. They are very smooth. So they are known as unstriated muscles. Right? Is this much clear to you all? And this is not according to our will. Voluntary muscles is controlled by our will, but involuntary is not under our will. Is this much clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now the last one is cardiac. This is nothing, but this is found in heart. Cardiac muscles is found in the heart. Okay. Heart. You can write it is found in heart. So let us read this. Special types of involuntary muscles that work continuously. They are present in heart. They do not get tired. They have alternative light and dark bands. Now these heart muscles, the cardiac muscles also have, you can see in the diagram, they have light and dark bands. That means they are striated. Also, they work continuously. They do not get tired. You know that our heart beats continuously. Yes, what happened? I cannot hear you. So we are stopping here. Okay. We are stopping here.
Ears.
Yes, what happened?
Ma'am, which muscles in ear?
In ear we have cartilages. In the previous topic, we learned about cartilages. Cartilages are present in ears, not the muscles. Okay, cartilages are present. These are flexible things which are present in ear and tip of the nose.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Involuntary muscles were found.
involuntary muscles, they are found in the internal organs, right? Since these muscles, the involuntary muscles, they are not under the control of our will, they are present in internal organs, right? Our body has some organs. Liver is there, okay, kidney is there, lungs are there. So there, that point, these involuntary muscles are found. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And where are the cardiac muscles found? In the heart. Okay, they beat continuously. Heart, you know, heart beats continuously. So that continuous beating of
Ma'am,
heart.
which type of thing present in tongue?
Yes, what happened? What is the question?
Ma'am, what type of ma'am, in tongue?
I can't hear you. Please, everyone mute your mic, and the
tongue,
person who is saying,
Ma'am, in
yes,
tongue.
yes, in tongue.
Ma'am, what type of things?
Yeah, in tongue also, voluntary muscles are present because tongue also, when we roll our tongue, it is under the control of our will, right? So in tongues, we cannot say muscles, but other things like cartilages are present. Okay, flexible things are present. Is that clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so we will stop here. You know, cardiac muscles, it is found in heart, and the continuous beating of heart is due to the continuous contraction of cardiac muscles. Okay, we are stopping here. We will do the next part in the next class. That is the nervous tissue we will do in the next class. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Any doubts?